Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you along with me in the kitchen as I make a delicious dinner of taco meat with a salad and some Spanish rice. There's something a little different about this meal, so we're going to talk through that. And then I want to talk you through some of my plans for meal planning for December, and especially surrounding the week of Christmas. Whenever it's possible, I like to light a candle while I am cooking. These homemade beeswax candles just bring a nice warmth to the kitchen. This recipe I have probably shared before. It came to me when I was a first newly married woman. It came from a YouTube channel of a woman named Robin, so it's Robin's Spanish Rice. I follow this recipe to a T, except for in recent years, I've come to more appreciate the taste of a white rice like jasmine rice as opposed to the instant brown rice that I used to use. But other than that, I follow the recipe as that recipe card says. These videos were great because Robin's father was a chef and they have a Hispanic background. And so she showed lots of different helpful tips and techniques. And she is actually the video that I watched to learn the proper way to dice an onion. So anytime that I'm dicing an onion, I often think about Robin and this video that I watched. So this recipe does begin with half a diced onion, and then it also begins with some bell pepper. So you'll see that in a moment. I've mentioned before, but one thing that I try to do as much as possible anytime I'm spending time in the kitchen is if I'm chopping something and I'm only required to use half of it for a recipe, I will 9 times out of 10 go ahead and chop that other portion of whatever fruit or vegetable that is and go ahead and use it or freeze it. So in this case, today I'm making some Spanish rice and some taco meat. So a lot of times when I'm doing ground beef, I will do some garlic and onion in the pan to flavor that beef more, or chicken, turkey, whatever I'm cooking with. So today I'm using that other half of that onion to flavor this meat. So both of my pans have some olive oil in the bottom, and then they just have that diced onion. Now I'm going in with the bell pepper. I always like to buy the tricolor bell peppers at Aldi. I think that they're a good price and I can use them for so many things. So if you'll notice, today's ground beef is going to be a little different for the taco meat because we're actually using something I've never cooked with before. And that, of course, is venison. So I teach music lessons, and one of my banjo students was telling me about how he likes to hunt and how he deer hunts, and that's pretty much all he cooks with. So in the course of the conversation, I shared with him that I'd never had venison. I never cooked with it and didn't know much about it. So he told me he would bring me some. So he brought me 2 pounds of frozen ground deer meat, and he said that in his opinion, if you cook with it in something like chili or a spaghetti sauce or a taco meat, you really can't tell the difference. So I just thought that I would give that a try. So I'll show it to you in a little bit. But right now I'm seasoning up my rice. So you add the rice and kind of let it brown in the pan a little bit, and you add your seasonings. So there's some salt, there's some garlic powder, and there's some chili powder. Those are among the spice collection that I would say every cook should have, and there are certainly other ones in addition to that. But once you stir that all together, then you add chicken broth and you add tomato sauce. And this gives this rice this like subtle tomato flavor, and it gives a nice richness with the chicken broth. I will also say this recipe makes a lot of rice. So this is a good one to make if you want to have leftovers for your lunches that next day, or if you want to maybe double and freeze, then that would be a good thing to do for that. So I like making recipes like this that have some extra because I always like having prepared foods in the fridge, and this was one that did that for us. So I'm going to measure out that tomato sauce, and this is another one. I get the small cans of tomato sauce from Aldi, and 1 can is not enough, but 2 cans is too much. So I try to think about how I can use that extra tomato sauce so that I don't waste it. Full disclosure, this time I actually did waste it, but usually I really try to figure out a way to save it. So I'm getting out some lettuce, and I've just washed that, and I'm just going to shred that with my knife so that we can have all of our different toppings for the tacos. I really love a meal like this where you can have everything's sort of laid out and deconstructed, and then people can kind of build their things however they want. I think that this is a really great way to serve a meal to a lot of people because people have preferences, and this can invite our kids to try different tastes and textures and things and mix them or not mix them, have them together on their plate or separate. So you'll see here's the deer meat. I actually didn't mind it at all. I couldn't really tell a difference. My son said the texture was a little different. My daughter ate it just fine. So did my husband. So that was our first time trying it. I do have one more pack of the ground venison in the freezer. So you'll have to let me know if you've had it and what's your favorite way to eat it, or if you don't like it. I'd love to know that too. So this is how the rice turns out. It's not exactly like you get at a Mexican restaurant, but it's very close. And here is how my plate looks all plated up. It was really delicious. Hey everybody, so I thought I would sit down and just take a couple of minutes and do a little bit of Christmas planning. Something that I decided I wanted to do last year was make 2 freezer meals, and I had planned on having them for Christmas Eve. And what was kind of laid on my heart was we don't have concrete Christmas Eve plans. We have a Christmas Eve service at church, and then as far as our Christmas Eve meal, it's just we don't really have anything in particular. And last year what I did was I put something in the crock pot, and it was so nice to come home from our church service and already have the meal ready to go. So I wanted to do that, but then I also knew that oftentimes somebody in our circle is going to have illness at Christmas time. And there have actually been years where we left service and took food to somebody. So what I wanted to do, and kind of maybe start this as a tradition, and maybe it can be something that my kids can remember, is that on Christmas Eve we will have 2 freezer meals, and we'll have one, if it's, hopefully it's not us, but if it's us that is sick, then we'll have that meal and won't have to think about what to eat on Christmas Eve. Or if we're not sick, we'll have the one meal for us, and then we can take a meal to a family that's sick. That was a really long explanation, but you understand what I'm saying. So as I was thinking about December, I thought, honestly, I would like to have more freezer meals than just that. I know that Lydia Sin mentioned a long time ago that she regularly would double and freeze on like Mondays or whatever. She would once a week, I think, double and freeze. So I kind of had this idea, what if I just once a week double and freeze a meal? We do have an extra fridge and freezer out in our shed. So anyway, I am just going to take a couple of minutes. I have 2 cookbooks here. The first one is Magnolia Table. This is a collection of recipes for gathering, volume 3. This was one that I had seen somebody put on Instagram that it was way on sale last year in the like December area, and I bought one for me and one for my sister. So that's this one. And then I have this Pioneer Woman Cooks Dinner Time. And this one actually has a whole section on freezer food. This was one that I thrifted. So I'm just gonna go through, and I thought it might be fun to kind of pick a couple of recipes. And I would love your comments down below of regular like freezer meals, things that you can dump in the crock pot, or maybe you double them and then freeze half of it. Anything like that. I would love to know kind of what you do. I freeze a lot of food, but I'm always looking for suggestions. So I'm going to start with the Magnolia Table one because I know that there's that whole section in the Pioneer Woman. I'm going to go to dinner because that's specifically what I am looking for. Well, the first one that I found that sounds really delicious are braised short ribs with white cheddar mash and asparagus. But the bottom of it says do not freeze. I don't know why. I do think I'm gonna have to put that on my list of things to try. I know my sister and her husband make some braised short ribs. This looks really good. I saw a recipe in here for chicken fried rice. I do actually already have a recipe for fried rice that I really like, and I think that could be a really good one. I think rice freezes pretty well. You'll have to let me know if you have experience with that, but I do think it freezes well. Lots of these sound so good, but I think a lot of them are not really things that would freeze well. Yeah, that sun-dried tomato chicken says does not freeze well. Okay, so lots of good things in there, but not really for the freezer. Let's check this one out. All right, I'm gonna go to the section on freezer meals. Freezer food, page 99. Okay, so there's a recipe for meatballs, ready to go freezer meatballs, and then from there you can use them for a couple different things. She's got these sweet and sour meatballs that sound really good. It's like pineapple juice and brown sugar, ketchup, soy sauce. That sounds really nice. And you just serve it over rice and sprinkle it with green onions. You can also do it as Swedish meatballs and serve with egg noodles, which I also love that. And then barbecue meatballs as well. Ready to go grilled chicken. Grilled chicken would be nice to have just for like quesadillas, or to put in pasta, or just to have, you know, with something on the side. That could work well. Of course, she's got chili in here. Chili, soup, anything like that works well. And she shows how to freeze them flat in Ziploc bags, which is what I do. Taco chicken, like salsa chicken kind of. That would be easy to do. So I saw this one and it definitely intrigued me, the Mexican tortilla casserole. I love the idea of this. It's like a layered, and it's got enchilada sauce. Looks like it maybe has some salsa verde. It's got a couple different kinds of beans and chicken. Just a nice, really hearty thing. I might do that one. That sounds good. I also like the sound of these red, white, and green stuffed shells. She also has individual chicken pot pies, and I think chicken pot pie for December sounds really nice. All right, that gave me a lot of ideas. I think I'm at least going to do some meatballs, some chili, and maybe another kind of soup. I think I'm going to do some salsa chicken, like some taco chicken. I like the sound of that enchilada casserole, the Mexican casserole, and then fried rice. And I might do like a lasagna or those stuffed shells. That would at least give me 7 to start out with. And then beef and broccoli, I've done that before, so I'm probably gonna do that one. So that's at least a start. That gives me several. Oh, and then the chicken pot pie as well. And I might do them as the individual ones, or I might just do like a sheet pan chicken pot pie and make it easy. Thank you guys for coming along for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope it inspired you to find some ways to make your December meals creative and less stressful maybe. And I'm really excited for just the days and weeks to come leading up to Christmas. So there will be more to share here on life and cooking and gift wrapping and decorating and all of those kinds of things. So if you like those things, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll talk to you next time.